Hey, what's going on, family? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to dive in on belief grief. That's what we're going to talk about. Why are we doing this though? Because a lot of you are destroying old beliefs and acquiring new ones. So let's take steps to do this, because if you do not even know the steps to grief, you're going to be trapped in one of these areas and not make it out of it and into your new life. So stay tuned. All right, fam, thank you for sticking around. So we're going to make this quick. That way you can have the necessary tools and apply them immediately to your life. So the first thing I have to make sure that you know about is that grief has a system to it. Just like anything, you kind of follow steps to grief. And if you've grieved over a family member, a friend, anyone that you love or care for, you understand that this to be true 100%. There are steps to this, and you come to the acceptance once you've gone through all the necessary steps to get you there. We can grieve over a lot of things, death being number one, right? We can grieve over death. However, I want to talk about beliefs specifically, simply because of the day and age that we're in. It's very pertinent to know how the grief stages work. First thing you have to know is that 1, 2, 3, 4. These were the first four: denial, anger, depression, and acceptance. In the original model of the grief stages, which was done back in the 1900s, 1800s, I believe, late 1800s, there were only 4 steps to it: denial, anger, depression, acceptance. Now, it was revised later on, and bargaining was added to the middle of those. And then I even added my own at the end, bonus, which is action. So now that you kind of have a little layout of it, let's go through them. Denial is the first stage in any type of grief. You're going to deny what the truth is. You're going to deny the new information that you're receiving, and you're going to say, I don't think so. That's the initial thing. Tell me if I'm wrong. If I told you right now with 100% fact, I even had a piece of paper stamped by the National Scientific Study people, and they were to say, look guys, everyone sees the sky is blue, but it's really red. The first thing you're going to do is say what? Fuck no, it's not blue. It's not red. It's blue. I can see it. You see what I mean? That's always the first thing in denial. In the grief stages is denial. So you have a new belief, right? You're understanding how this world has been basically puppet playing you this entire time, and all of us. And now we're in the Great Awakening. We're merging into that day and age. So a lot of people are denying information right now. They're denying the truth, because that completely disintegrates everything that you have built your life on, and it's natural. Okay, but moving on to the next step is anger. So after you come out of denial and into anger, you're coming out of, wow, I didn't know that the sky was red, but now that it's been proven, I kind of can't deny it anymore. So now I'm just pissed off. I've been lied to my whole fucking life by everyone I know that the sky is not blue. So you become angry. You become angry with yourself that you could believe such lies, that you could believe such dishonesty, or that you could believe something that is so real to you and it ends up not being real at all. Out of that anger, you start to bargain. Now, let's leave the sky being red alone for a second, because we're going to talk a little bit. We're gonna make it a more so about, let's say, my boy behind me, Nipsey Hussle. I was in denial when he passed away. I said, no way, this guy died. Then I moved into anger. I was pissed off that he was passed away. And I moved into bargaining. Like, what can I do to get him back? What can I do? What can we do as a collective to have this man return to earth as a living being? Knowing that it's not possible, obviously, but still that bargaining comes into play. A better example is with my older brother. When he passed away, I bargained everything that I had. I said, take everything, take me instead, bring him back, take me, right? The same thing goes with your beliefs. You say, no, I didn't know that. Now I'm pissed off about it. So what can I do? What can I do to make this true? What can I do to make my previous truth true? What can I do to make my previous belief true? How can I make this true for me? That's all bargaining. Now you move into depression because your bargaining doesn't work. This stage here, this stage right here is where a lot of people get stuck. is in the depression. Because after the bargaining, you basically feel like you've done all you can do. You feel like you've done all that you can do to change the situation or to change what has happened or to change the truth that you've been given. So out of all of that bargaining, you end up depressed because it's not coming to you. You're not getting what you asked for. You're not being able to change the truth and what's happened. So you get into depression. You start to wonder, why did this happen? How can I fix it? And from that point, you just start asking more and more questions that keep you confused, such as the whys. Those little why questions. Why me? Why them? Why did it have to happen this way? Why are they doing this? Like these disgusting elite people. And I've known about this for over 10 years of my life. What was it? 13. Yeah, I was just talking to my father who taught me all this stuff. I said, Dad, when did you start teaching us this stuff? He's like, shit, man. His eyes got all big. Like, I don't even fucking know. It's forever. I said, it was about like 12, 13. He's like, yeah, absolutely. It was when you guys were barely going into high school. Well, me personally. So I went through this whole process going into, or as a child. Now, I went through the bargaining because I was so upset. And I'm not even going to go there because you don't even want to hear it. But these disgusting elites who do all this crazy shit, hurt children, hurt people, manipulate all of the masses, and just want to live in their own fantasy world, which is what they've created successfully thanks to our submission and our denial, anger, and bargaining, and staying in this depression state. They are able to succeed at what they wanted to do. So out of the depression, how the fuck do we get out of there? Well, first of all, you have to know you're in there, which is why I'm doing this. So if you find yourself, if you've been just now learning this information coming out from all these different sources, sharing with you how the world has been ran for the last 2,160 years to be exact, this right here is necessary to you. You've already probably gone through the denial, saying, no way, that's not true. All of my presidents have been completely great. They've all worked for me. I don't know what's going on in the other parts of the world, but hey, my America is fucking perfect. I'm living the dream. You went through denial. You said, oh shit, I'm not living no fucking dream. I'm living their dream, not mine. Then you got angry. You're like, how the fuck can these people do this shit? How did I not know about it? Then you start to bargain and say, well, what the fuck can I do? Can I find one of these bitches and fucking kill them out in the streets? Can I do something to them? And I'm not saying to do that. However, these were my own thoughts back when I was a kid, when I was going through this. Because I'm like, well, if they're so powerful, how are we going to do anything to change it ever? How is that going to happen with just one or two of us? It's not. So I bargained and tried to figure out how to make it happen, and I got depressed. For me, this depression lasted 7 years because I was unaware of this. So I stayed depressed, but you didn't know, because just like a functional alcoholic, you don't know they're drunk. I'm a functional depressive. You don't know I'm depressed when I'm depressed. I'm not depressed now, but I was. Now, in this depression that lasted me 7 years, I did not know that the next step out of it was acceptance. I didn't know I had to accept this shit because it is what it is. I didn't know that I had to accept it. And that right there is what brought me into the salvation. It brought me into salvation. But what I did do was this. I took action. Before accepting, I just took action. I just started learning more, sharing more, being more, accepting myself for who I am. Not these disgusting elite people, but I was accepting myself for who I was and the shit that I knew, and tried to figure out how. I kind of went back into bargaining, right? Like, how do we stop this shit, right? So just realize that this is just a template. You can go from denial to bargaining to anger. You can go from denial to depression to acceptance and skip over anger and bargaining, depending on who you are. But knowing that there are steps to this shit is key. Now, when I came to acceptance after taking action, I became free and I became compassionate. Now, I talked to my father about this weekend for Father's Day. And I told him, yeah, Dad, I can actually look at these people now, because I've known about this stuff for about 15 years. I can look at these people now and say, you know what? I know enough about peace, love, and the universe and our astrology and our source. I know enough now to know that I have to have compassion toward these people. I have to share compassion to them Otherwise, it will continuously drive me crazy how disgusting and abominable these people can be. It's a path that they chose to go on. Now, if they knew what was at the end of that path, I have no idea. But let's imagine you are a child of one of the Clintons and you've been raised by their standards of living. You've seen all the things that they do and they've convinced you that it's correct to do. At that point in time, you have no ideas of your own. You have no, what is it called? You have no stance of your own, no foundation of your own. Just like you right now watching at home, same thing with your family. They passed everything on to you to give you a set of beliefs that you currently uphold to. So if you're one of the Clintons, and I'm using them as an example because they're the most talked about and most disgusting right now, then you would understand that once that kid, you, turns 18 years old, after all of this shit being flooded into you, and you see how mom and dad are running the world, and you're like, holy shit, you know, it hurts some people, but we still get the good things. You may go for it. You may do it. And I'll be the one to say that shit. I'll be the one to give you permission to have compassion for these people. Now, you may have to go through 10 to 15 years like I did of knowing this stuff to get to that point of being able to be compassionate toward them. But that compassion gave me power. What power is that? The power to talk to them. The power to meditate with them and speak to them through different dimensions. Now, that's a whole nother story. But let's move on. Action. That was number 6, only because once you accept it, that's fine. But you can easily fall right back into this entire flow again, even after you accept it. And I did that. I did just that. So you got to take action. You have to take some type of action. What I told you already was learning, spreading the word, fact checking, fact check, fact check, fact check. I'm going to say it again. Fact check your shit. Because a lot of you are out here seeing something that you like or seeing something that kind of resonates with you a bit, and then you instantly click share and you haven't even read the article. You don't know who wrote the fucking article nor its intention. So fact check your shit. Don't just blah, spew shit out. Now, this has been another video with DSL and Makaiza. Let me run through these again. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and the bonus, which was action. If you find yourself caught up in any of these steps, rewatch this video and pick out any of my own experiences as well as the examples that I gave you, because they're pretty good examples. The sky is red, right? You thought that the world was a nice, happy place. You thought the United States was a country, not a corporation, when indeed it's the United States of America Incorporated, which is why we have a president, not a king or a queen. You see how we piece all this shit together? Once you start to know the knowledge is the power, baby. That's what brought me to acceptance, was that I knew. It brought me to acceptance. So thank you for joining. I'll see you on the next video. Mwah. Namaste.